The time has come. We have a tough schedule to stick to because we have a very large record number of speakers. Let me invite everybody to the General Assembly and closing plenary for APAN 54. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Dr. Marcus Buckhorn. I am the APAN General Manager based in Canberra, Australia, and really wishing that he was in Jinan, China at this point in time, of course, but not to be. Hopefully for future APAN meetings soon. The General Assembly is a session designed to summarize the activities of the week and give everyone a sense of all of the sessions that were occurring in parallel that you were not always able to attend. We invite all of the session chairs and other participants to very briefly summarize their sessions activities for the week and their plans for the week, for the next 6 months until the next APAN meeting. We are going to move very quickly through all of the presenters, so I will start by inviting Mr. Chehu Cheng from APNIC to the stage. Go ahead, Chehu.
Thank you. Thank you, Marcus. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to do the report for APAN 54. I'm not going to use the presentation mode because it's faster. And first of all, I would like to mention a bit about the community between APAN and APAN. In fact, we are part of your family because, we are ANET members, and also APAN, the NRENs and RENs are mostly our members. I won't go through all this, but I want to add that, like for EduROM, we actually are going to expand to more users of APAN Academy. So when our Academy user has completed one of the courses, they are eligible to use EduROM. And also I will highlight the close collaboration with the Y project because together we have the Trust APIDT, and through the foundation we have funding to HRI, Soy Asia, API program, and also independently Arena Pack project. And as for our own contributions to APAN 54, we are glad that we are a bronze sponsor of APAN 54, and for future APAN meetings, if you need sponsorship, please come to me. And we also have our chief scientist doing the plenary talk about IETF on Monday afternoon. I hope it was a good talk. And our trainer Warren did a half-day tutorial on SDN OpenFlow. According to Hoover, we had 55 attendees for the first session, 33 attendees for the second session. But according to Warren, there were only 10 attendees. Hopefully we can have more attendees for future training. And I myself chair the Arena Pack update session at the Network Engineering Workshop. And Jamie also helped with the technical committee and also security working group. I'm also glad that our foundation, ESIP grants, they have a grantee project presentation on developing the collaborative BGP analyzing and diagnosing platform done by Chang Xing Ang of Tsinghua University at the GNAG APAN routing working group session. So I hope you enjoy that. Lastly, I would like to highlight our key messages. Firstly, again, I think I mentioned it last time, for the historical IPv4 address holders, please join us as members or non-members as soon as possible, because if you don't join us, you may be able to lose the entitlement of the IP resources. And in fact, after you join us, you can continue to you can enjoy APNIC services. And relevant to this community, we also have APAN Academy as a platform to support all of our training and technical assistance activities. And we are gradually going back to face-to-face mode. Hopefully we can see you, most of you soon. And we also are growing our training and technical assistance capacity we are hiring, not just hiring full-time trainer, but we also have position on like training curriculum development with certification as focus. And we also have a community trainers network, which we need a lot of help from most of you. If you're interested in these positions, please apply. And of course, in order to do much better, we will have more partnership with universities, RANs, and others via the APAN community. And yeah, we are going back to face-to-face mode for our own conference, APAN 54. We have the same number as APAN. It will be held in Singapore in mid-September. Hope to see you there. And it will be a face-to-face hybrid conference. So yeah, a lot of us will be there. And hopefully, if you are there, or maybe if you're interested, please come to join us. That's all. Back to you, Marcus. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chehu. And of course, our partnership with APNIC is incredibly valuable to us, greatly valued. Our other great partner and sponsor is Asia Connect and Tainstar CC. I invite Yunjin to the stage. Please go ahead. And you're muted at the moment.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Marcus, and good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jinan from Tainstar CC. On behalf of Tainstar CC and Asia Connect project, I will brief Asia Connect project activities during this APAN 54. TNCC support. Okay. TNCC supported the APAN 54 by sponsorship participation at bond level. And for Asia Connect meetings, we had the governors meeting on 22nd August, Monday. This governors meeting is a closed one for project partners. And this time, total 19 annual partners participated. And also there was a representative of the delegation of the European Union as the major project partners as well. In this meeting, mainly Asia Connect project progress was shared, and the governors discussed for our project future plan. If we have any conclusive the big picture and big plan, that we will share via our channels as well as APAN community as well. And the second day, as Tuesday, the Asia Connect project meeting was held and chaired by Luis Hyano Choi, project manager of Asia Connect project. There was an update about TAIN network management and also operation. In this meeting, Asia Connect self-granted projects were presented that were mainly activities to support the Asian countries to ease the digital divide or supporting ICT infrastructure in the Asian countries. In this meeting, about 54 people attended the session. Also, Tainstar CC attended a network engineering session on Thursday. Mr. Patrick Lee, head of a project management team, to share the TAIN network management and the collaboration status with the global partners. This is our brief of activities during APAN 54. I'd like to ask all of you to please keep following Asia Connect project website and social media. We will announce our important event and activities information for RNA communities. We also have a plan for Asia Connect webinar series during this year, and its detailed schedule and the content will be also shared by our website. It was a great chance to meet all APAN 54 participants, especially thanks to APAN 54 committee and the APAN Secretariat for your wonderful jobs for collaboration. We will keep support for the APAN community through the next APAN meeting as well. So see you next APAN in 2023. Thank you.
Thank you, Yunjin. Appreciate that. Next, can I please invite Terry from the Australian Access Federation, a long-term partner and member of APAN, to talk about the many sessions that he was involved with running.
Thanks, Marcus. Glad to be involved with APAN again. It's a great crowd, great organisation. We had 3 days worth of activities this time around. Monday, we had our federation updates. We got updates from a significant number of our federations, which are starting to really power on. And we also had a presentation from our friends at Orchid talking about personal PIDs, which was really interesting. On Monday, we had 58 attendees, and you can see the breakdown of genders there. We've got lots of federation activities happening across the region. There's lots of growth and lots of increased understanding of what federation means for the national research and teaching initiatives that are happening. So we're seeing continued growth, and we're working very closely with 3 new federations that are about to sprout up. One from Cambodia and Bhutan and from Nepal. So we'll be assisting those guys to build out their federations over the next 6 to 12 months as part of the IFI X-Men project. One of the issues, or the issues that keep coming up around federations are limited resources and limited budgets, which we have to work through. And everyone's still looking for that killer service or the killer app, but the killer app is actually the federation and access to all of the services it provides. So I think we still need to keep teaching people that that is the app, or is a killer app, not a specific app. It's the bundle of apps. On the Tuesday, we did some very specific training. We actually went back to the basics and started over, really targeting our 3 new federations that we're working with. And this is part of the, as I said, IFI X-Man project. We had topics on how universities can save time, money and effort by being part of the federation, protecting privacy, sharing and collaboration, the types of services that can be provided, and having a look at the national perspective on how it will influence the development of a federation over time. We also looked at providing a framework for interoperability, evaluating member organisations, aggregating metadata and providing services and applications, and looking at how we do sustainability. We had 45 attendees on Tuesday, which is really good to see that amount of interest in federations. On the Wednesday, we looked at our IFI X-Man project in more detail and had a bit of a dive into what EduRoam is. The project itself is an Asia Connect funded project, and it's being run by Sifaland, the Malaysian Federation. They're doing a great job to date, getting everyone organised and coordinated. There's 3 components: training and best practice. APAN 54 was part of the training component. We've got the Sifaland guys developing a software ecosystem, which we'll be talking about at our next event. And we've got an IAM ready. It's a bit of a competition to enthuse people to get involved in talking about what identity federations are and telling us about their activities. And making it a competitive thing to get people involved. Our next events are at APNIC 54 in Singapore, so we'll see you there, Chi-Hu, and all your friends. And then after that, we have another training session, again face-to-face one at APAN 55 in Nepal. We finished out the week with a discussion on EduRoam, back to basics again, EduRoam for beginners, and an introduction to EduRoam and its development as a national information infrastructure by Hideki Goto from Japan. And we also identified that there were some gaps in the current EduRoam deployments, and we will address these as part of the IFI X-Men project. And that's it from me. Thanks, Marcus.
Thank you very much, Terry. And just by additional input, we're having some good conversations with Orchid about APAN, but participating more strategically in the global Orchid consortium. Next, can I please invite Konishi-san to talk about the network engineering workshop. Konishi-san, you were there? If there are technical issues for Konishi-san, I may come back to you. And I'll move ahead to Dr. Moriyama. If you could talk about the medical working group, please. We'll come back to you, Konishi-san. And you're muted, Moriyama-san.
Thank you, Marcus. Okay, right. Right. Now, same as previous APAN meetings, we held a variety of programs like this from Monday to Friday. In total, the 11 sessions and the 1 workshops were held, and we learned a lot from 55 presentations from 14 countries. And I'd like to introduce some of the programs. At the left top, we can see the photo, including variety of people like this. This program was held by Dr. Oga from Kyushu University, and based on the survey from the people working for the telemedicine in the Philippines, we discussed how to create a profession in the telemedicine field. We enjoyed the fruitful discussion with them. And right up, you can see the traditional medicine session led by Indian doctors. In this session, many traditional medical procedure and drugs were introduced. And left bottom, you can see the dentistry session. In this session, lots of Indonesian dentistry students joined and learned a lot from the experts' opinions and share the knowledge and the experience with them. And the right bottom, this was a rural healthcare session led by Nepal doctor. In this session, a few medical students from US presented their experiences on rural healthcare system in Nepal. So like that, we would like to expand to various fields in the medicine. And we are more the presentation from young researchers, doctors, and also students is more than welcome. So if you are interested in our working groups, please contact us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Moriyama-san. Konishi-san, I see you. Are you okay to report on the network engineering?
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead.
Can you see? Can you see the slide?
Yes, I can.
Okay, wait a moment. Screen. Okay, I'll make a report about the network engineering workshop and slide show. Our presentation material are already uploaded on the websites of APAN JP. This is a program of the workshop. But you can visit these websites and you can get the presentation materials. Our speakers has made a very good presentation materials. That's why please visit the websites. You can get it. And as to the, we have 4 sessions. The first session is based for North America. That's the first network plan and updates. And Harai-san made the chair. And Internet to Indian University, NYI Japan, and EPOPS Singapore made a presentation. And the second session, the Arena Park, Jeff mentioned. And Jeff chaired the session, and 4 speakers from Arena Park members. And the third session is a network technology, chaired by Panjai Thailand, and Cindy talk about IP version 6 only network, and Hirotaka Sato and Hugh Kim made a presentation about SDN technologies. And 2 guys from Hong Kong made a presentation about exchange point and Harnet members network. The fourth session is a network updates for Europe and Asia. And David West of United Kingdom made a chair. And B.S. Joe Kisti talked about GNA, and Janji Chen talked about CSNet update. Pachiri 10cc made a presentation about the traffic volume and design. Guy Roberts talked about the new NGI, Jinan NGI. Interesting topics are there. And this list can be used for the possible speakers at the next workshop to select and focus on the topics. And the first topic is NGI, of Internet to Jian and SciNet. Currently, most of Jian is working for 300G or something, and Internet to 400. But in high traffic volumes, circuits are already 800G, 600G, and 400. SciNet deployed 400G network all over Japan. And the second topic is Internet and SciNet are using the dark fiber, but Europe, Giant will use a combination of dark fiber, spectrum, and these circuits. Spectrum means, one fiber can be used by multiple networks, multiple NRENs. And the third topic is open line systems. And telecom infrastructure project proposed an open line system, but some vendors are not so happy to adopt open line systems. But Giant already started third-party transponders. They adopt a third-party transponders and started the open line systems. And fourth topic is Arena Park, developing countries, connection to the developing countries. The fifth topic is GNA. Creonet made a talk. He's a chair of the GNA and explained about the status and activities of GNA. And APAN JP is working for, performance measurement among GNA node. And the sixth topic is Cindy worked for IP version 6 deployment, and he explained about when and how IP version 6 only network will be deployed. And 7 is a BGP routing. Transpac and working for GNA routing working group. Hanet is also joined. And 8 topics is network automation. These topics are just a brand new one, but many networks are started to work for network automation, for release, for decrease power on operation cost. And the Internet to HKS Korean GNG group talk about network automation based on Cisco's network service orchestration technology. 9 topics: performance and measurement, Transpac and AJP working for performance and measurement technology. And security, SciNet talks about security. And 11 topics is a most popular one, traffic growth and the new network design. AS Connect 10cc made the talks about this one, and HKIX shows the traffic increase and the next design. 12 topics, application. Philippine joined and Arena Park, but he talks mostly about application. CSNet also GSNet is funded by government, and he worked for the national project or international projects. And Hamid also spoke about application. And 13 topics of programmable 100G router. This is initiated by Jinan, but the APAN JP is trying to join these activities. And also United States also joined these activities. And at the next text workshop in December, there is a presentation or session about the P4 programming. And the 14 topics is network, submarine cable deployment and the bandwidth, talked by EPOPS Singapore. And that's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
It's
Kunishi.
okay?
Yes, that was very good. Thank you very much. Next, I invite Professor Jong-Hoon Moon to talk about the Asia Pacific Research Platform.
I'm ready.
Ahead.
Yes, can you see my slide?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
Okay. Hello, I am Jong-Hoon Moon from Kingston. At this time, it's on behalf of the APRP working group and the General Assembly. And this slide is the briefly what is the APRP, the working group. Is very shortly introduce about this. So we wanted the big data superhighway and establishment research platform to iShares. We wanted toward the setting of the ASEAN research platform and the big partner of this global research. And so session and our session held our session have two sessions held 24th on Wednesday, and the session one chair is me, and the session two Andrew Howard. They have 16 presentations from the 8 countries around the 40 attendees. The material introduced about the session one is consists of keynote speech and the country update. In case of keynote speech by its part as a name of global trend of global research platform relates to work and in the future.
Professor Moon.
We had two durations. The first one, the building a distributed platform, how it works and how it and the second thing is from the ASI Plaza. He could learn the deep learning code or something like this on this platform. And the brief session 2 is we call the session 2 is technical topics. 10 topics in Australia, Netherlands, Pakistan, Malaysia, and Saudi Arabia. And they announced the cloud system and wireless research and the management of the Ansible based on Ansible and the AI and the research network and so on. And we have the Asia Connect project by Tain. Title is building a bandwidth distributed HPC. It means that this is establishment of a big data superhighway and the research platform for shared regions. We have the four key countries: Korea, Australia, Malaysia, and Pakistan. And the new achievement is the Asia Plaza is one of our core member and the core applicant. He got the best award from BlackCon 2020 International Conference at Jeju in Korea on Tuesday. And this paper comes from this Asia Connected project and based on this APRP working group. And this the more detailed information of our ordering and our the presenters and the upper picture best paper of the picture. And this is the technical topics from 10 presenters in session 2. As I mentioned before in the several topics announced at this session. So thank you so much for listening.
Thank you, Professor Moon. We have some interesting audio issues along the way there. Next, can I invite Dr. Virachai Tampipat to spend some time telling us about all 3 separate sessions and groups that he ran through this week. Please go ahead, Chai.
I cannot share. You have to stop.
Professor Moon, can you please stop sharing?
Okay, mic issue.
Can you stop, Professor Moon? Thank you. Go ahead, Chai.
Okay.
Can I stream? Can I see to be able to?
Okay, is it ready?
Looks good.
Okay. Briefly, I will report on the 2 working group and 1 workshop. So we'll start with the agricultural working group and then the rural hybridization workshop. So we have a lot of discussions, and then we all agree that the climate change will affect food security. So all the research that we are trying to do in this agricultural working group and this rural hybridization workshop aim for that, and hopefully that we will have enough knowledge to try to prevent that. I mean, it's unfortunate. And this is the detail of the workshop that have been discussing, mostly with the very high technology from ground sensor up to the satellite remote sensing, try to link together to optimize the production of in terms of agricultural in many ways. So the process of making this advanced research and technology to be ready in the future are undergoing. And then for the rural hybridization, also similar things that we are trying to do. But in this session, we have issue from the professor from Pakistan that have very difficult time to connect. And then at the end of the session, Ninomiya Sensei mentioned that the Japanese is trying so hard to cope with all the chemical thing in this agriculture within the country, but they are trying to do it. And then open and sharing data working group under the toward an Asia Pacific open data commons. So we have 2 sessions. And then we have 3 speakers, and most of the time in these 2 sessions, we trying to have a concrete discussion how to move on within this pain point of data and information sharing. So you see that we have the plenary session talking about it, and this is the participant within it. Thank you very much for the many shares. Stop by and see how what we are trying to do. And this is what we are drafting with the main that we are trying to do this the open data commons within Asia Pacific. But it's a long way to go. This is still in the process of drafting. Last but not least is I need support from all of you that we will launch. Now it's already up. It's a data.apan.net for open and sharing data within APAN first. And then we need all your comments, all your recommendation. And then would you please send everything you would like to support at the data@apan.net. And since it is version 0, we try to launch the full version after collecting all the comments, suggestions, useful link, the useful training links, whatsoever that you're going to be kindly sent to this data@apan.net into this website that Dr. Junichi Onami from National Institute of Informatics, Japan, help us develop the version 0, and then we collect all the data, and within a month, then we aim to launch the first version by the end of October this year. So hopefully that gonna be not further delayed, because this is very important thing that we would like to see, important effort that we would like to see within APAN to show that we can do this open science and open data and open and sharing the data within our communities. Thank you very much. That's all.
Thank you, Charlie. You've had a very busy week, obviously. You can have a break now. The next working group I'll invite is the e-culture working group. I will share the slides for Andrew to speak. Andrew Howard is the co-chair. Oops, pick another button.
Marcus, we had quite an interesting e-culture program. While Marcus is getting the slides up, our working group is chaired by Farida, with co-chairs Najwa, Tosh, Narul, and myself. Next slide, please, Marcus. Unfortunately, we had some technical issues with Professor Emerita Margaret Khartoumi from Monash University. Margaret has a great exhibition of musical instruments and artifacts from Indonesia and around the Indonesian region. We also had a couple of really fascinating presentations from the Masters of Malaysian Cuisine YouTube channel, who presented both how they do their production and how they commercialize and gain value from the Masters of Malaysian Cuisine website and YouTube channel. We also had a very fascinating presentation by Professor Adaruna from the University of Hyderabad, who discussed real versus virtual live, looking at a case study of dance and virtual theatre performances during the pandemic. Nasirin presented on Malaysian folklore and new media, looking at the Kelantanese oral narratives and discussing ways in which we capture oral histories and oral narratives. And Tosh, our old friend, presented on a report from the countryside of Japan, disappearing cultural heritage and increasing disaster possibilities in regional communities. So I'd like to ask you to invite you to join the e-culture working group. We look at a lot of the humanitarian side of things from a typically very technical conference. Thank you very much. Back over to you, Marcus.
Thank you, Andrew. So a little bit of screen jumping back and forth here. Very interesting to see all of the activities around cultural community capture. So as well as the lovely demonstrations you used to run, which hopefully we get to see once we move back to face-to-face meetings. Windows, too many windows. Now, can I invite Eric Yen to talk about the Disaster Management Working Group and then the Cloud Working Group? Go ahead, Eric.
Thank you, Marcus. Let's start from the good news of the Disaster Mitigation Working Group first. We have a new co-chair, Director Franz Leon from ASTI Philippines on board from this meeting. After APAN 53, in fact. So it's really nice to have such strong supporting force in this region to this working group. In this week, we have 3 talks on case study and knowledge sharing in 2 sessions. About 24 participants from 10 APAN members are working together. So we are centered on case studies such as the dust transportation from biomass burning in Asia, the disaster risk reduction and management in ASTI, especially the machine learning enabled solutions, and also the forest fire and haze monitoring from AIT Thailand, and which also brought up very helpful discussion to all the topics and also to the collaborations. So let me remind the goals of this working group. we are supporting the capacity development for the disaster mitigation by collaborations at all levels. In the past about 10 years, actually, we are focusing on the case study based and the open collaboration through APAN activities. So we support the open sharing of the knowledge, data, tools, and resources from case studies, and also from the partner institutes. We support the engagement of the user community and also the service provider. And we also provide the training and outreach activities. And in the future meeting and also in the future collaborations, we are focusing on capacity building, for example, to promote the open and sharing data, the tools, knowledge, and resources, as mentioned by Verichai about the open data and sharing working group promoted. And also we are supporting the collaboration with all APAN members, such as the different working groups from APAN, especially the cloud working group, the agriculture working group, etc. And in fact, all the working group members are also part of the EGIS collaborations, which is under the umbrella of European Open Science Cloud. So we will keep close collaboration with the EGI-led projects in the future, focusing on the disaster mitigation and also agriculture things. Lastly, without the great support of all the partners and also active members in the long run, it's not possible to reach here. So it's grateful to for all the members and hope we could work together to achieve more in the future. So that's the summary from the disaster mitigation working group. So I will continue another report for the cloud working group on behalf of the other two co-chairs, Hiroki-san and also Professor Kim. Started from 2014, the cloud working group has been disseminating and also promoting the cloud services and also technologies to support the regional collaborations. From 2020, during the COVID, in virtual events, we remain to have two sessions in the past APAN meetings in the past 3 years. In this week, we have 2 sessions as usual. So usually we have the a member experiences sharing first, and also some invited presentations from APAN members as well. So we have about 18 participants in the activities this week. Here are the details of the presentations. So we have the again introducing the status of the Open Science Cloud, focusing on the collaboration with the EGI, as I mentioned, and also Professor Kim introducing the AI services and also development over the federated cloud environment, and Hiroki-san introducing the distributed cloud solution over the B5G. And in the second session, we have interesting talk from Michelle Wetz introducing the European-wide procurement for public cloud, which is a very interesting and probably helpful models for countries in Asia, and also the open federation applications over the software-defined networks from Korea as well. The vision of this working group is to share and promoting the development around cloud-based ICT technology and applications to support the collaboration of APAN communities. So I think we could start from the collaboration among such a huge diversity of the cloud working, the working groups of APAN together, especially those application areas working groups. And we also support the sharing of the case study knowledge, solution, technology, and also requirements from user communities, from APAN members. So in the future, we are keep on contributing to APAN working groups of Asia, including the open data and open science initiatives. And for example, on technology, the open science paradigm, the testbed or partnership engagement, and also keep on collaborating with regional or international cloud science oriented initiative. For example, the EGIS projects, as I mentioned. So that's the summary of the cloud working group. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Eric. That's a very active set of activities, sorry. And I'll be interested to hear more from the working group in the future about opportunities for APAN to help with, like that European model, the demand aggregation around cloud services, and maybe approaching commercial providers is an interesting model from Jinan.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Let me next invite Professor Song Wang-Chol to talk about AI-driven networks.
Okay,
please go ahead.
Yeah.
We can see your screen.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, can see your screen. Go ahead.
Okay. Let me start report our working group sessions. We had the third working group session in this APAN. This is our working group's board, and we have our working group have 3 co-chairs like that. It is a third working group. Then in this time we had 2 sessions on Wednesday, 21st August. The first session was chaired by Professor Hwang Jia-hong, and the second session was chaired by Dr. Hidehisa Nagano. We had 8 presentations. The number of attendees was like that. First session had 37 people. The second session had 18 people. We had totally 8 presentations. In the first session, we had 4 presentations. The first speaker was Harvey Newman from California Institute of Technology. He showed science networks of the various RNs and introduced their activities for applying AI technology to the science networks. The second talk was made by Wang Cheng from Southeast University. He showed applying CNN and RNN AI algorithms to encrypted traffic analysis. The third speaker was Woo Sung-ju from KT Korea. He introduced the status of the data lake deployment on Korea. The fourth speaker was Bed P. Kaffel from NIST. He explained NIST's ARCA operation as the solution of NFV systems. It is based on Edge Mano architecture. In the second session, we had also had 4 presentations. In the first presentations, the University of Malaya team presented 2 issues. One is the intelligent network traffic forecasting in SDN, and the other is the road threshold identification in wireless networks. The second speaker was Sungjin Park from KIST. As you know, KIST has a ClearNet S as their SDN networks. He introduced electric power management as a parameter for applying AI technology to ClearNet S. The third speaker was Kun Jie from UPT China. He presented a GNN-based DRL approach for routing with their simulation result. The last presentation was from our university. We presented deployment status of the intent-based networking for Geneva tunneling-based overlay networks on TIN. Those figures was taken during our sessions. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Song. Can I next invite Kasahara-san to talk about the security working group sessions this week?
Yes. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Are you sharing a screen? Yep.
Yes.
I can see your screen.
Yes, thank you very much. This is Yoshiaki Kasahara from Japan. I'm a chair of APAN Security Working Group, and with two co-chair, Rakesh-san and Jami-san, we conducted a security working group session. Usually, we have presentation session during every APAN meeting to share a research topic, experience, and promoting collaboration between APAN community about security, network security related topics. And this time we have two presentation sessions and have 5 presentations, including cyber terrorism, IoT security, and the security issue of online education, and security related education, and also a national strategy of cyber security from Nepal. I think the four participant is around 50, and I think simultaneous connection was around 25. So there are these are interesting presentation, and we have a good discussion. Especially there are some discussion about education. So co-chair Jamie-san also introduced Epinic Academy because education is also very important for security. Unfortunately, fourth presentation by Dr. Chang from Monash University was interrupted due to his side of a network problem. So now we are asking if he can provide separately recorded presentation video. Then we can put the video along with our session record on APAN YouTube channel. So these are the screenshot of some of our session. In next APAN meeting, I also want to have similar presentation session. So please contact me or security working group mailing list if you have something to share with APAN community. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kasahara-san. Appreciate that. A couple of absentee reports where I don't have slides, but just to summarize, Jennifer Schopf and Brenna Mead from Indiana, of course, it's about 3-4 a.m. Where they live. They ran the APONet session to provide updates around the development of the infrastructure through the Pacific region. And more actively, the network routing group of the APAN network routing group is partnered with the GNAG, the Global NREN Alliance, and also with APNIC to monitor and oversee the behaviors of routing configurations across all the international NREN links, and try and mitigate some of the issues that they're seeing with things like trombone routing and so on, where your traffic takes one path to go out and comes back on a completely different international cable. And that, of course, causes all sorts of performance problems. And so they've been developing a global monitoring infrastructure, partnering not just with the Asia Pacific region, but globally across those networks. One other session was a workshop on training for genomics, distance education. I don't see the coordinator for that, but maybe Idris later on can talk about that. I'll now pass on to Torit to talk about the transmission network, REN transmission networks session. Go ahead, Torit.
Thanks, Marcus. Am I audible?
You are audible and I can see your screen.
That's great. Thank you. So my session was on comparison of transmission networks of NRENs belonging to developed and developing countries. It was a single session and it was organized by Bangladesh Research and Education Network, and I was the session chair. We had speakers from different countries of different varying economies. Like less developed countries, we had from Bhutan and Bangladesh, developing countries, middle income countries like China, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, and we had from some developed countries like South Korea, and also one speaker from our Nordic friend, Nordonet. So they had some fabulous presentations. So total 7 speakers. We had total 63 participants, and the participants who stayed more than 10 minutes were 57. So actually, the session was organized. The main purpose of the session was to know about the architecture of different transmission networks of different economies, and also to know about the challenges they are facing and how they are getting around all those challenges. From the presentations that were demonstrated, I have tried to make a gist. I will explain it in terms of some of the parameters, like ownership of fiber. You can see the least developed countries, they are leasing fibers. Even lower middle income countries, they are also leasing. Upper middle income countries, they are owning the fibers. They are also leasing the spectrum and capacity. In terms of topology, the domestic topology for least developed countries is mostly ring and spar. The middle income and upper middle income, they are deploying ring network. The developed countries, they are deploying in domestic architecture, they are deploying multiple rings. So that is a learning for the least developed and the lower middle income and upper middle income economies. For international connectivity, the least developed countries and yes, the least developed countries, they have single connectivity. The upper middle income and lower middle income and also the developed countries, they have multiple connectivity. So as the topology explains, the redundancy varies. For domestic backbone, the redundancy for least developed countries, it is low. For lower middle income and upper middle income countries, it is high. And as developed countries are going with multiple ring, it is very, very high. The transmission network capacity, I have tried to explain it or to analyze it in terms of Gbps per lambda. For least developed countries, it goes with 10 Gbps per lambda. For lower middle income and upper middle income countries, it varies from 10 Gbps to 100 Gbps. Developed countries are going with 100 Gbps up to 600 Gbps. Then some interesting feature like alien wavelength, ASON FlexGrid, alien wavelength, only Bangladesh has tested it and Nordonet has put it on production mode. ASON and FlexGrid, those are available mostly with developed countries. Equipment from vendors, less developed and lower middle income, they are going with one single vendor because multiple vendor brings multiple complexity. The upper middle income and developed countries, mostly they are multiple vendors. Other than South Korea, they are going with single vendors. These are few snapshots. What are the takeaways from the session? So I have divided it into 3 parts. For planners, those who are yet to install the transmission network, they need to consider the issues like availability of fiber. That is a big challenge. You have to have fiber or you have to have bandwidth or spectrum for activating your transmission network. The policy level support, that is regulatory support, whether you can lease fiber. The necessity assessment in terms of flexibility, whether you need the network, the quality of service, and also the concerns, whether it makes a business case for you in terms of cost and the accrued benefits. For new entrants or developing entrants like BDRAN, The issues are a little bit different. We have also already installed the transmission network, the feature upgrade, the ASON, the automatic switching part. That is an issue. Scalability is a challenge because we are moving with 10G, but we need to upgrade it to 40G or 100G capacity. The topology, that is very important because the spars, they need to be converted to rings, and the availability and cost of leasing fiber, that is also need to be considered. The concern is augmenting the domestic network, that is converting spars to rings. The sustainability, that is also a challenge because the cost of procurement of new feature and also the cost of maintaining the transmission network. For developed entrants, the challenge is different. They need to consider upgrading their feature like ASON or Flex Grid. The scalability, they have 10G or 100G, they need to upgrade it to 400G or 800G. The topology, converting rings, they have rings, but they can convert it to multiple rings for getting higher availability. The concerns, they have different concerns, augmenting domestic and international networks. So international network is also their focus, which is not the focus of developing or least developed countries. The cost of renting and leasing fiber, this is main concern for South Korea, the Creonet. The business case is different. The cost of upgradation, the scalability and topology, and cost of procurement of new features. So moving forward, we are planning to publish a proceedings and circulate it among the attendees. Of course, we will circulate it. We will send it to APAN Secretariat and to arrange sessions in future APANs, if APAN Program Committee allows us, on more specific topic and technology involving DWDM transmission network. So that was my last slide. Thanks to APAN Program Committee for giving me the opportunity to arrange this session. Thank you, Marcus.
Thank you, Turret. That sounds like a fascinating session. There's a whole opportunity, I think, to talk about maturity models for NRENs more broadly. Let me move on to the next speaker. It doesn't look like Francis is able to join us today. So I'll make sure I give him some homework to write up some slides and share them on his session around NRENs and their support for connectivity to rural and remote regions. Is our next speaker Idris here? If not, I can report on his behalf.
Yes, I'm here.
Go ahead then, Idris.
Yes, thank you so much, Marcus. I'm sorry, I'm just setting myself up here. It's been really an interesting experience that we've had. This is our third activity with APAN, and we had this very topical still session on, are we doing enough to prepare for the next pandemic? We are exploring how to empower research on pandemic preparedness, prevention, and response activities, looking at policies, computational access, and collaboration platforms. So we had been very lucky to have 5 very eminent researchers, a couple of very senior professors, one who is actually the Professor Chandra Yoga Aditama. He's a former director from the World Health Organization in Southeast Asia, and currently also director at the Yasi University in Jakarta. Now, his topic was on the One Health G20 and Indonesia. And he actually was reporting from, or he's speaking from Bali, Indonesia, where there is a high-level G20 health working group meeting there that was just concluded, but they've had ongoing side meetings. But this is a very, very important meeting for members of the 20 country group, which involve not only health ministers, but also finance ministers, academics, ministry officials, and they cover many topics. I wouldn't go into too much detail, but one most interesting aspect of this endeavor is that they are working very closely with World Health Organization and with a very lofty aim of strengthening global health architecture. And so it covers many areas, but the key point is that finance is one of the planks which they really have been working on, and many countries have actually already contributed to the fund that they are putting together there with the help of the World Bank. So it looks like there is ongoing work in the policy area. And now Professor Cordia Chu from the Center for Epidemiology and Public Health in Griffith University was our second speaker. She's also very eminent, has had a long engagement with the region, and she spoke on what we can learn from COVID-19 to prepare us for future pandemics. She was really focusing on the first part of the pandemic. That's in the first year, where vaccine was still elusive, and the role of leadership and public communication was prominent in distinguishing those who were able to manage the pandemic and those who weren't. And one of the conclusions that came out of that was that there is a need for greater collaboration, of course, and but specifically focus on science communication, and that many medical and public health universities or departments of universities are now focusing on science communication, specifically in dealing with pandemics. Now, for our third speaker, we had Dr. Gareth Price, who is from the Galaxy Australia, which is part of a global Galaxy network. And he also is the laboratory head of the Queensland Computational Infrastructure Fund. And he was basically giving an overview of what Galaxy is and how it is a platform that is an open source platform with tremendous resources that many developing countries can look into and start to work with from sort of scaling up from using it at the laptop level all the way to having a data center on its own. And one of the highlight is that there will be a major conference coming out to Australia in Brisbane next year in July, which is the Global Galaxy Conference that would enable participants from the region to come closer and come together to discuss not only the tools, but also organizations and training programs that Galaxy has to offer. Now, Galaxy is not only able to have tools that would be useful for the virology or SARS-CoV type of analysis, but is also is able to be used for biodiversity work. So that's the main message which Gareth delivered. And so next we had also a very eminent professor, our Associate Professor Prawinder Kaur, who is the director of the DNA Zoo Australia, and also based at University of Western Australia. Now, DNA Zoo is a global consortium which has groups in the US, China, Russia, and a few sort of branches in other countries. But what they're trying to do is to build the genetic database for various animals, particularly those that might be in extinction. And there are, I mean, to many people's, many people might be surprised that there are many, like over nearly 10,000 animals that are endangered for extinction every year. And this is a race against time in order to conserve them, not just for the sake of conserving, but also for dealing with future pandemics, because unless you have the genetic code, you wouldn't be able to work out the vaccines against these pathogens that the animals carry. So it is a very rapidly changing research area, but it seems to me that there's a very good collaboration that's going on in this space. Last but not least, we had Dr. Hardip Patel from a relatively new institution at the Australian National University called the National Centre for Indigenous Genomics. So this covers the genomics database development for the Australian Aborigines, but also it is planning to work on, or has already starting to work with the databases of Indigenous peoples in the region. And this is, there's also an exciting development in that next year, the International Genomics Society will be meeting in Melbourne, and there will be collaboration that would be coming to fruition next year. But the center itself is actively engaging in collecting samples from various Indigenous groups across Australia. So yes, there's a lot to cover when it comes to preparing for the next pandemic. But it's just like the way it was with the vaccines that was discovered to be much shorter than what was expected. Initially, I don't know, some of you might remember, the vaccine was supposed to have taken 2 or 3 years, but because of the international collaboration that took place, the vaccine was developed less than a year. So there is a lot of optimism in these collaborations, and that some of the other highlights of the session was that there is a catch-up, a lot of catch-up activities happening because of the G20, and also that the infrastructure is actually there. The main issue is really always in the governance in organizing this infrastructure. By having people able to meet in person, I think this is an advantage. like there was this meeting in Bali was a real milestone. So that in any case,
Idris, we need to keep moving, please.
yes. All right. So the smart surveillance is really what is the main message. The smarter the surveillance, the better we are able to deal with the next pandemic. Thank you so much for the support that we've got from the APAN staff, and I wish APAN. We wish to hope to have to participate in future APAN activities. Thank you very much, Marcus.
Thank you, Idris. That part concludes the reports from pretty much all of the sessions we had during the week. Rather impressive number and a very, very full program. I'm going to wind up briefly and then hand over to our current and future hosts. But I just wanted to reflect my own thanks to all the people that have helped make this week and this meeting possible. Thanking Andrew and Andre for the chairing of the program committee, to Jamie and others who've been very active running the technical committee, and of course Liana and Sean on the APAN Secretariat, who've been amazingly helpful and hardworking and making sure that everything from Hoover to all of the back-end platforms have worked amazingly well, and have supported and educated all of our new speakers to join our sessions here. And of course, it's always a great pleasure to work with the local organising committee and group, particularly with long-term friends such as Jennifer, Professor Wong, Wei Qi, and others in China. Now would like to hand over to Jennifer to report on the local organising committee's experience of APAN 54. Jennifer, go ahead. And remember, you are muted. We can see your screen.
Sorry, I will try to do this again. Okay. Good. Okay, thank you, Marcus. Thank you all very much for being patient. It's a pity that we cannot meet in person in Jinan. But anyway, I think this APAN 54 is really great. And the host, the CERNET Tsinghua University, Chengcheng Laboratory in Jinan, we are the hosts. And the venue is the lecture hall on the third floor in the Supercomputing Center in Jinan. And these are the pictures. An online meeting platform, we used Zoom and Hua as the previous APAN meetings always did. The registrations till yesterday, the physical participation is 171, including 14 from media, and also 1,051 online registration. The sponsorship, we have 5 sponsors, the Platinum, H3C, and Gold, Huawei, and Regia, and the Bronze sponsors, APNIC and Asia Connect. Actually, this time we tried the virtual exhibition hall. You can also access it. We will open this and keep this open till the end of next year. So if you are interested in accessing this virtual exhibition hall, you can do that before the end of next year. And the news releases in Chinese, I'm sorry. So these are all the newspapers and the website. So, but I'm sorry again, all the news releases are in Chinese. This is the opening ceremony. We invited the Vice Mayor of Jinan, Bing Sun, gave us the welcome address, and Professor Wu and Professor Wang, they all gave us the welcome address at the opening plenary, opening ceremony. And the Bo Yang. He's a deputy director of Chengcheng Laboratory. He chairs the ceremony, and I chaired the opening plenary. You can find the live streaming in the YouTube. For the plenaries and meetings, 10 keynote speakers and 2 sponsor speakers gave us talk in the plenaries from Monday to Thursday. And from Monday to Friday, this APAN 54 organized 50 sessions in this whole week. And the challenges we've faced is an unstable pandemic situation. Actually, the unpredicted pandemic situation really brought us a big impact. So we could not select the venue in advance. And we were not sure if the real physical meeting could be held. So just before 1 month before the meeting, we tried our best, and we selected the hotel and the meeting venue, and also we prepared a backup plan if there's any policy changed. We have to have this physical meeting, so we prepared a venue in Beijing just in case Jinan, the policy won't allow us to Jinan. So more than 80% of the local arrangement work was done just within 1 month. It was really a challenge for us. And just August 19, we were sure that we could go to Jinan. We canceled our Beijing venue reservation just 2 days before our APAN 54 meeting date. And the challenges in the lessons, firstly, our great appreciation to BDRAN friends, the host of APAN 53, for their kind sharing of their lessons they learned, which was really helpful to us to smoothly support the whole APAN 54 organization. But there were still some other technical challenges we met in organizing the Tuesday opening ceremony and plenary in a hybrid mode. We need 3 different channels. So one is for local physical participants, and one is for online participants, and one is for YouTube live stream. Because different channels, it required different volume of the voice. So we need to test a lot of times to find which one is the best. And also for the mayor's speech, you may be aware that the mayor's speech, he was speaking in Chinese for local participants, but we wanted to save time for the plenary, for the whole ceremony. So the English translation was done simultaneously to online international participants. So the challenge for us is that the interpreter was sitting in a small room, but the mayor was speaking in a large, the meeting room. They could not hear each other. So actually this was done fantastically. So it seems that they made their speech simultaneously to our international participants and local participants. And also we have 3 cameras in the meeting venue and to broadcast the local information to online participants and also YouTube. We did a lot of tests and rehearsals before the ceremony to make sure every details of the procedure for the technician, they could follow without mistakes. even this, we made a small, a small misoperation happened. The online participants could not hear the voice from the local venue for several minutes. So when I tried to check if there were any questions to the first keynote speaker, but you cannot hear me. And also when I introduced our second keynote speaker, you could not hear me. And another big problem is Professor Shimizu, the second keynote speaker, he could not hear me as well. So then how to communicate? I have already invited him to speak, but he could not hear me. So our technician realized this problem and quickly communicate with Professor Shimizu and give the floor to him. So this is something, actually why this happened, because when we did the tests and rehearsals, the technicians, they were in the control room, and there are two doors between the control room and the meeting room, the meeting venue. So when we did the tests, both doors were open. So the technician, actually, they could hear us speaking at the stage. But when the real ceremony opened, the two doors closed. So the technician, they could not hear what we are saying on the stage. So they just could guess the video they could see. So, oh, when she is done, when he is done. So then this is something we didn't realize when we did the rehearsals. This is something challenging for us. And let me introduce our local organizing committee. The chair, Professor Wang, and the vice chair is Bo Yang. And the team leaders, we have three teams, but 4 leaders. And actually, the real heroes are not us. They are the whole team. We made a short video for let you know these heroes. And it's a pity again, you could not meet them in person. Otherwise, if this was a physical event, you have met them already. Let me play the video. Okay, this is a video for the local organizing team. And actually, I would show this special slides to our volunteers, the special acknowledgement to them, the great technical support to all Zoom meeting rooms for APAN 54 are provided by 21 volunteers from Trenton Laboratory. The team leader is Zheng Jie Diao, and 2 leaders, and the other one is Lin Mei Zu. Actually, she is the real coordinator with the APAN technical committee and also the local technical team. And I may take this is my last slide, and also another short video which is trying to summarize the APAN 54. But just now, actually, many the great, wonderful reports are provided by our session chairs. If our session chairs are happy to allow us to use some of the summary informations from your report into this video, I think this video will be very fantastic for providing more substantial information of APAN 54. Now, we just used some snapshot we took from several sessions. So let me show this. Thank you. Okay, thank you very much. And this is the end of my report.
Thank you, Jennifer. Some very good videos there. And please, on behalf of the APAN community, thank your entire huge team of people. They've done a fantastic job this week. We really appreciate all the great help. Now, let me invite to the virtual stage the chair of the APAN board, Professor Jinan Wong. Professor Wong, you have the stage.
Yes. Hello, everyone. I'm happy to stay here. Our APAN 54 meeting is very successful. It's my first on-site APAN meeting since 2020. The only pity is you are still online. And here, I thank you all for making it. Especially, just like Jennifer mentioned, the technical team is very hard because the online to offline hybrid meeting is really tough. So hope next time in Nepal, we meet in person. And Marcus, I think it's my task to announce the appointment of the advisor, right?
Please do.
Okay. So now, on behalf of APAN board, I announce the appointment for our new advisor. Because as you know, for APAN board, we have 3 advisors. They are Professor Shingeki Goto, Dr. Georgie McLaughlin, and Professor Jianping Wu. And this time we have 2 new advisors, and I'm sure you are very familiar with them. They are Mr. Jerry Bowman and Professor Dian Kim. And the APAN board resolves to appoint these 5 advisors to the board of APAN for a period of 2 years, just from this AGM 2022. And that's all. So see you next time.
Thank you, Professor
Marcus.
Wong. Thank you, Professor Wong. Let me now invite
Thank
to the
you.
virtual stage our host for the next APAN meeting that I'm sure everyone looks forward to visiting in person. Mr. Lachlan Amatya, Please go ahead.
Thank you, Marcus. Let me share my screen. Can you see my screen?
I can see your slides and we can hear you clearly.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Welcome you all, almost in advance in APAN 55, which will be held in Kathmandu in March 13 to 17. Although we had a plan to welcome you in APAN 49 in 2020, but due to this pandemic, we have to close down within 1 week time. It was so pity. Now we are well prepared to welcome you in this APAN 55. I don't need to tell much thing about Nepal. I think you all know about Nepal and we have briefed it. The main thing is the altitude in Nepal varies from 70 to 8,848 meters, Mount Everest. And our venue will be in Kathmandu city, the capital of Nepal, which is almost 2,000 years old. And it's a heritage city, we can say. Out of 10 UNESCO World Heritage Sites in Nepal, 7 are in Kathmandu Valley itself. And it's a periphery of 15 square kilometers only. And the main international airport, although we have a couple of airports already started, but still Kathmandu is the main international airport for Nepal. Most of the flights are landed in Kathmandu. And for visa information, I think you all are aware. It's a very visa-friendly country. Especially for a SAARC country citizen, except Afghanistan, do not need visa if they are first time in given visa here. On arrival, visa procedures are very quick and simple, but you can also consider to get visa from Nepalese diplomatic missions stationed in your country prior to your arrival. It's not so difficult. And we have taken consideration of 2 major hotels, Hotel Yakaneti and Kathmandu Marriott Hotel. And we are comparing with their facilities and let's say negotiating with some other deals. Both are interested. Earlier in APAN 49, we had fixed Yakaneti. But still, the Marriott is also very interested. Now, I think within a couple of days, we'll fix the hotel and let you know. And our website will also be up within 1 month time. We'll be updating all those information on our website. We're not much taking time. I would like to just show you one video about Nepal, a lifetime experience. Let me play. I think you can hear my voice. What happened? Sorry. Thank you. With this video, I think you all are tempted to visit Kathmandu, and that March will be the best time to physically see all these things. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Lachlan. I also look forward to seeing all of the APAN attendees dancing like that in the center of Kathmandu. That was very impressive. With that, this session draws to a close. The meeting has a couple of sessions left to go for those of you attending that. Obviously, we thank our wonderful hosts for APAN 54 and look forward to meeting our hosts for APAN 55. I also invite the attendees to think about hosting the future APAN meetings for APAN 56 and beyond. Please do get in touch with me or the Secretariat if you're interested for more information. With that, I think we can close the session, and I wish you all safe journeys home, which are not usually as long as these days as they used to be. Thank you all, and goodbye.